Okay, now we're going to learn to start factoring trinomials. There are three terms here. We always ask whether there is a GCF that goes into all three terms, but there isn't. When you're factoring trinomials, you start by looking at the third number, and you're trying to find two numbers that will multiply to the 16 and either add or subtract to the number in the middle, the coefficient of the linear term. The easiest way to do this is to list the factor pairs of 16 off to the right. We've got 1 times 16, 2 times 8, 3 doesn't go in, or 4 times 4. Notice the first column is getting larger as the second column is getting smaller until we've kind of reached this turnaround point, and that guarantees we've found all the factors. Now, which of these add up to the 10 which we see in the middle there? The answer is the 2 and the 8. So we factor this into two parentheses, putting an x at the beginning of each parentheses. In this way, x times x will create the x squared. Then, at the end of the parentheses, we're going to have 2 times 8. 2 times 8 will make that 16. Checking these two middle terms, we're going to have 2x in the middle and 8x on the outer edges. And we want these to add up to 10x, and that will be the case if both terms are positive, which tells us to put a plus in each parentheses. So this becomes our answer. Notice that we can write this as x plus 2 first times x plus 8, or we can list the x plus 8 first and then the x plus 2. On the next problem here, x squared is out front. There is no GCF that goes into all three terms, so we begin to examine that 18. Different factor pairs. 1 times 18, 2 times 9, 3 times 6, and 4 and 5 don't go in. You really have to know your times tables well to do these problems. Now, which of these will add or subtract to make this 3 in the middle? The answer is the 3 and the 6. So we're going to break this into two parentheses, each beginning with an x, and then we're going to put our 3 and our 6 in. Now we're going to check our signs. We have a 3x on the inner and a 6x on the outer. We need them to add up to negative 3, and that will happen if we have a positive 3 and a negative 6, which means we'll have a plus in the first parentheses and a minus in the second parentheses. It always turns out that when the third number is negative, you'll have different signs in each parentheses. Whereas if the third number is positive, like we had in the last problem, you'll have the same sign in both parentheses. Both of these were positive to add up to that positive 10. Had that been a minus 10, these would have each been negative, but still both the same sign to multiply to that positive 16. Moving on to problem number 3. No GCF. We know that our parentheses are each going to begin with an x. The multiplication problems that make 40 are 1 times 40, 2 times 20, 3 doesn't go in, 4 times 10, 5 times 8. I was getting a little bit ahead of myself. Now, it's the 4 and the 10, as you can see, which will make that 6 in the middle. So we need a 4 and a 10, and it will end up being a minus 4 and a positive 10, so that the negative 4x and the positive 10x that we're going to end up getting will add together to make that 6x that's up there at the top in the center. Number 4. We're changing variables, each beginning with an m, each parentheses that is. Now 11 is a prime number. It's got to be 1 times 11, making that 11. And since that's a positive 11, both signs will be the same, and it needs to be a minus in each parentheses so that the negative 1m and the negative 11m will together add up to make the negative 12m that we're seeking on this problem.